In 2020, a team of 6 university students, my friend Viet, and I solved one of the biggest challenges facing Rochester during the pandemic. Here's how we did it. In March of that year, my mom came home worried, stressed, and scared. She worked at Rochester General Hospital, and her ward had just become a hotspot for COVID-19 patients. See, there was no vaccine available, and all of the staff were trying to treat as many patients as possible while trying to keep themselves and their families safe. The problem was that no one had access to face shields. I overheard my mom's stressful phone calls with her boss and knew I had to help her in some way. And then, my school closed down. With all this new free time I had, I came up with a prototype within the day. It featured one of my clear plastic binder dividers as the visor and a simple headband that I 3D printed. You can see it fits like this. So my mom wore this to work the next day, and when she came back, she handed me 2 pieces of paper. One had a list of 3 improvements she wanted to see, and the other had a list of 8 of her coworkers that also wanted face shields. So now I had a problem. Clearly, people needed these face shields, but I just could not keep up with the demand. I only had one slow 3D printer, I didn't have access to the software I needed, and I was completely out of materials. So I took a leap of faith and asked for help on a local Reddit forum. Within a few minutes, I got a message from someone who lived just down the road from me. He said his name was Viet, and he offered to 3D print the plastic headbands for me. He said he would drop them off at my doorstep. I posted the same message to an app called Nextdoor and got 2 messages from RIT students as well. While RIT was closed, they offered to 3D print the headbands in their own apartments. They also had access to better design software, so over WhatsApp chats and Zoom calls, we got to work on the next iteration. Between the RIT students and I, we spent 2 weeks of designing, prototyping, 3D printing, ordering materials off of Amazon to come up with this next version. We tested different visor materials, different plastics for the 3D printed headband, and even different 3D printing techniques. But eventually, the design we landed on was just as simple as the first design. It featured a clearer, thicker visor, a wider, more comfortable headband, and was way easier for us to mass manufacture. That's a picture of my mom wearing this face shield to work. By this time, our order numbers have doubled to almost 20 orders that we had to fulfill. So me and my friend Viet, we quickly formed a virtual assembly line. He would 3D print the headbands in his house and drop them off at my doorstep. My job was to pick up these face shields, bring them into my house, cut the visors using a hole punch, and then 3D print extra face shields, then print off an instruction sheet, then finish the whole kit in a plastic bag. My mom would then take these to her hospital and hand them out to her coworkers. After this first batch, word started to spread quickly. Soon, local businesses and charities started reaching out to us, and Viet and I had now 300 face shields to deliver. So we made another Reddit post and doubled our team of 3D printers. Even my dad and my sister started to help out. My dad was responsible for fundraising and collecting donations to offset the material costs, while my sister would cut the face shield visors with a hole punch. At one point, we were receiving hundreds of 3D printed headbands at my doorstep each day. And when my parents weren't looking, my sister and I transformed our dining room table into a sort of assembly line. At one end, she would cut the face shield visors, and at the other, I would package them into the shipment boxes. Within just 2 months, we had delivered over 3,000 face shields. Our little team of people that had never met in person had become a successful stopgap at the time of greatest need. Isn't that pretty incredible? What started as this excuse to cut up my old school supplies quickly snowballed into this huge community-wide initiative. While we were all isolated from physical contact by COVID, we were able to connect over social media. We joined forces to design a quick, simple solution that could be quickly delivered to the people who needed it most. I wanted to end with some of the stuff that I learned from this experience that can help you with your next project. The first thing I learned is that social media is super important. If I hadn't posted on Reddit, I wouldn't have met the incredible team that I did. Other apps like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they kept me up to date on COVID's progression in Rochester. That way I could predict the number of face shields that were in demand days and sometimes weeks before the orders started coming in. The next thing I learned is that prototyping is super important as well. Our team created this ideal face shield using the best materials possible, using the best printing techniques. But then we realized, we needed to consider the time it takes to manufacture the face shields, the actual cost of the materials, and the actual comfort of the face shields. If we had stopped prototyping there, our team would have lost thousands of dollars, and we wouldn't have been able to deliver nearly as many face shields as we did. And the last thing, if I had only one takeaway from this experience, it's that you shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. I know that it can be the best feeling in the world when you yourself can completely execute a project. But, as we know, that requires the time, funds, and resources that not a lot of people have. So, simply put, ask for help. Whether it's online, on social media, or face-to-face, asking for help almost always works out. As individuals, we can be deeply invested in these problems and issues. But the solutions, they don't come out of thin air. They are a result of motivated, passionate people teaming up to tackle the issue. I've found that social media has this incredible way of connecting and uniting people over their shared passions. So here's the challenge. Find a problem that you just have to fix. It'll be difficult, but when you find that one problem that always keeps you up at night, that always lingers in the back of your head, find other people who share that same itch to solve it. And when you do that, you'll build an unstoppable team. Thank you.